Welcome to AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. Educate. Celebrate. Connect. Arizona Hispanic Connection.
Welcome to Arizona Barrio Stories. This is Irma coming to you from 147 East Adams. We're at ALAC, Arizona Latino Art and Cultural Center. Have you been down here? You need to come and visit. And while I'm thinking about it, have you downloaded the app Roku with Chicano Hollywood? We're also on there. So we invite you to go to your phone, go on Roku, and download that app. Today, we have David Parra-Luna from AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection, and he always has good info for us. We are on show number 3 of a series that we've been following. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Irma. My pleasure again. Show number 3. Here we go again with My Finances.
My Finances. Uh-oh, it's going to get sticky, but I know it's going to be good. Tell me what we're going to cover today.
Well, you know, this is a series, right? And in the introduction, we saw that we would like to follow 3 concepts: budgeting, managing credit and debt, and saving and protecting assets. Very, very important. We already did a financial assessment. 10 questions. I'm sure you remember those.
Unfortunately, yes. I remember those.
Yes. Today we're going to touch on a topic that is very important, is how to calculate our net worth. I don't know if you had heard this concept. Good. And then on the following program, we'll touch on budgeting. You know, before we go into this topic, I would like to say a couple of things. And number one is the resources that we have at aarp.org. We have a workbook. All these topics, all these concepts, Irma, they are on a workbook. I forgot to bring it. I was going to bring it just to show it. It's pretty thick. You can go as deep as you want to, but managing finances it's just for everybody. It takes a lot to make money, and it just doesn't make any sense to squander the money or spend it in a crazy way, as we said the other day.
It comes in and it goes out.
Yes. Or sometimes, like we said in the past, sometimes we are caught up in this concept of keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
And that can be tricky, you know, as we saw the other day. And the second thing I would like, so I invite folks to go to our website and download. They can download the PDF. And the second point that I was going to mention is that I feel very thankful and grateful. I was telling you before the program that I remember my grandparents. They used to eat, a molcajete, right? Mm-hmm. Where you prepare the chile. And sometimes all they had was tortillas and chile. That's all they had, and they would kind of wet the tortilla and eat it. And so they, my grandparents come from were very poor, if you will. And then my parents, they started, with the struggles. They actually built a home in Mexico, my mom and dad. And then they moved to this country. My dad was a bracero. And then they moved the whole family as a result of, eventually, immigration laws changed, right? So eventually the whole family got permanent residency. Some of my siblings were born here, and then they have their kids born here, and then another generation. It's like 3 generations already. But just for me to be talking about finances, it's kind of very pleasant, because you come from a very humble beginning. And then you get up and make ends meet, and then you begin to build a little bit of what they call generational wealth. And for what? For our kids and grandkids, so they can do much better. And one of the things that I learned early on is that I wanted to give my 3 kids 2 things, and that is a college education, and help them somehow to buy a home very, very soon after they graduate. I've managed to help 2 of them, and the next one it's finished. He just finished his 3rd year in university. So again, very fulfilling. But all I'm trying to say is that it's hard work. We work, go to school, go to college, get a business, a trade, what have you. But I have to say that it has taken knowledge of financial concepts that has allowed me and my wife to be able to help a little bit our kids. I mean, obviously we're not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but to have a college degree, my kids, and a home, it's a big deal. And that's just to start. I think both of them by 25, they had already their homes. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that knowing financial concepts pays off. And I think any parent, any person is going to want to manage the finances well so that they don't not only make ends meet, but they can begin to build generational wealth. There you have it.
I'm glad you said it's a pleasant subject, because I think with a lot of people, when they hear finances, it's not a pleasant thing, especially if they've dug a hole and it's hard for them to get out of that hole,
Yes.
or they live from paycheck to paycheck. Okay, let's get into it.
You know, it's very important, because another thing, and before we get into deeper, like you have suggested now, debt, credit, I think it's what buries a lot of people. They don't use credit to their favor, but they use credit in a loose way, so eventually they get in debt, and that is not necessarily a good thing. So, and then we're going to get into in the future programs on how to use credit, but there's good credit and bad, or good debt and bad debt. There's that debt that you incur to help you to accomplish something, buy a house, get an education. But then there's another type of debt that you just do it just for pleasure, just to do whatever, and it can get tricky. Okay, so in this time, we would like to introduce this concept of building your net worth. I don't know if to say how much are you worth is the right kind of phrase, but the financial concept is you need to calculate your net worth. In other words, we have assets and liabilities. So to build our net worth, to see how much we really have, right? Net worth, how much wealth, if you will, net wealth, assets do you really have?
And define that for people.
Yes, that's calculating net worth. So how do you do that? Well, again, an asset is something that you own. A liability is something you owe. Let me just give an example. Your home. A house is something that you own. That's an asset. But if you haven't paid it off, it also has a liability in it. So let's say you bought a $200,000 home. So you have an asset of $200,000, but if you still owe $150,000, then you minus 150 from 200, so you actually have a net worth of $50,000. So that's how we calculate the net worth, and it is very important to do so. So let me kind of read a few points here. Your net worth is a good indicator of your financial health. It'll tell you, what if you have more liabilities than assets? Then that's not too healthy. So what you want is to have more assets than liability, so you have a positive net worth. So you know how much you have, and then that helps you for planning purposes, right? Net worth can be an important indicator for financial planning, such as purchasing a home, a business, or mapping out a retirement strategy. And this is another thing that I've noticed, that a lot of people don't pay attention to the future, right? So when we manage finances, it has a present component, but also a future component, because there will be a time when our bodies are going to be tired, they're going to get older, weaker, and we're not going to want to work anymore, right? So we need to prepare even for that stage of life, and we can only do it if we manage our finances, and calculating net worth is part of that. Any thoughts so far from you?
Well, retirement, when you talk about, thinking about the future, some people don't think about that. You talk about your assets, and some of those thoughts aren't there with some people.
Yeah. My dad and my father-in-law, they have something very similar that they told their kids: go to school. You just got to go to school. But they never told us, they never give us any guidance. So, and then finance, the same thing. So we need ourselves to learn the financial concepts so that we can give them to our kids when they are young, so they learn the concepts. And but still, our parents, even though they didn't have all this knowledge, of course, life was a little simpler in those days. And they still, like my father, I told you, he built a home, an adobe home and a brick home, small one, of course, in Mexico. And then my father-in-law, he also, and my dad, they both own a home in the U.S. And I told you that my dad never made $16 an hour. So there had to be some I guess concepts of financial to be able to do all that, and then it talks about generational wealth. We need to build generational wealth so that our generations that are coming behind us, they do better than we. That house, that retirement, preparation, making ends meet, and having your needs met. But we can only do it if we manage our finances. So again, calculate your net worth by making a list of all the assets: your home, your car, your collectives, your furnishings, household items, checking accounts, savings accounts, your cash. And then you'll make another list of your mortgage, your air conditioning line of credit, your personal loans, credit card, medical debt, whatever is a liability. So you do that, you minus the liabilities from the assets, and the result is your net worth.
Sounds easy, but I bet you on some people that paper's going to be really long.
Yes, I mean, it sounds a little bit too much, but again, if they go to our website and they download the page, I think they'll have something very practical in their hands.
And tell us, what is it called again?
Yeah, it's called Finances 50 Plus, and they can go to aarp.org and then just do a little search, Finances 50 Plus. They'll see a PDF. You click, you download it into your computer, and there you have it.
David, thank you for joining us today, and I'm hoping a lot of people log on to that site and are able to do that calculation.
I hope so too. Thank you once again.
Thank you from Arizona Barrio Stories. Go to the site, look for that PDF, and reach out to David if you're having any problems. He'll be glad to help you. This is Irma signing off, and as always, I will see you soon.